This is the website, refrigerator part replacements. As you can see, it's got all the parts listed, all the major operational parts listed. It's pretty simple to use. Just click on one of the images, and you go to that section. Ice makers, light switches. Here's the Ice Bin Rails, light bulbs, evaporator fan motors, heaters, thermostats, dryers, compressors, heat exchangers, evaporators, gaskets, ice makers. And then right here is my new restoration kits, and it's also on RestoreYourSubZero.com, all the restoration kits. I also have Zoom for technicians. If you need assistance, 40 years experience, I can walk you through anything, sealed system, whatever. And then Zoom for customers. It's on the same website, ApplianceRepairVirtualHotline.com. The gaskets, as far as the gaskets are concerned, so as you can see there, it says most gaskets are back ordered due to COVID. The gaskets, SubZero's manufacturing of the gaskets shut down, from what we understand, overseas, and they had to, this is right from SubZero themselves, lady told me that they had to open up another plant, and they're starting to ramp up the gaskets. I've got orders all the way back till May. This says 2 to 3 months plus, and plus is a key. On each one of these, I've got 2 to 3 months on each section. It's over 100 times on here written. And over here it says, don't order. If you're not patient, don't order, because the gaskets are in production. They're on back order worldwide. They're not anywhere to be found in the United States. So people have to be patient. I can get them for you, but you have to be patient if they order them. It's going to be a few months, possibly a couple months. Now they're starting to ramp up the production, so it'll probably be maybe weeks to month or month and a half or something. It's not going to be 2 to 3 months probably now. So if you want to get your gasket, I can get it for you. It's not an issue. You just have to be patient, okay? And you'll get your gasket, okay? I'm going to turn some lights on here. I got to turn the overhead off because it puts a line through the video. All the other parts are readily available. The evaporators, I actually manufacture some of those. So you don't have to worry about those being in stock. Evaporators, compressors, and I want to get out that what we need to do is try to take care of the customer. Independent service companies, when somebody has an experience with the authorized service company, all we hear is nightmares. I have customers telling me unbelievable experiences, and everybody that's in the industry is aware of what SubZero did to all the service companies and parts distributors worldwide here in the last 10 years, and it's just despicable. So we're trying to keep the parts flow to the customers. That's why I started manufacturing some of the parts. So service companies, independent service companies, I'd love it if you would get a hold of me. I can get you whatever SubZero parts you need. And as well, what I want to do is make an agreement with you. It's not even going to be a written agreement. It's just going to be a gentleman's agreement that I'll supply the parts for you. and make sure you have everything you need. And in turn, what I need to do is have you in your local area, when I sell parts to customers, is don't worry about the customer having a part. Just go out there, verify the problem. Just tell them that you're going to verify the problem. What I tell them right up front is that, look, I actually go through, in some circumstances, let's say just buy it out of the blue on the website, I will walk through and try to help them diagnose what the problem is. Now, I can do that with 40 years experience. I could do that from remote. I don't have to be in the home. I can do it on Zoom and identify the problem, and they buy the part. And if they happen to be somebody that wants to install it, then they'll install it. I can help them do that with Zoom, and I do that now. But if they happen to, like a sealed system repair, where they want a service company to come out and do it, please don't give them a hard time about not covering the warranty on the parts. I'm personally going to cover the warranty on the parts, so there's no issue there. You're going to go out and you're going to make the same profit on the labor that you normally would make. So just work with the customer, work with myself, communicate with me, and they'll have the parts in some circumstances, and you just let them know that, we can take care of it for you. You can remind them that we're not going to warranty the parts. You can write that on the invoice. The manufacturer, the seller that refrigerator part replacements will warranty the parts if there's any issues. I don't have any returns because they're all factory parts. They're all quality parts. If something does come up and it's actually the fault of the manufacturer defect or something like that, and haven't done service 40 years, it doesn't happen very often. Okay. So if you're putting an evaporator in, you leave a leak, please don't blame the evaporator. And I know it's most guys' way of doing it so that it doesn't look like they did something wrong to the customer. The best way to do it is just be honest with the customer, but be honest with yourself before the customer even finds out, and go back through your solder joints. If you're using oxyacetylene, it's probably why you left a leak. It's way too hot, 3,000 degrees. And you'll see it in most of my videos that I talk about this, because we got guys wanting to Tim Taylor tool time it and supercharge with the torch, and that doesn't. There's no advantage in doing that. It actually makes it worse for you, soldering the smaller lines, because they get way too hot too quick. Acetylene is the right torch, always has been, 1,700 degrees, and so using oxyacetylene, you can get away with it, okay? But you've got to be out on it virtually just a couple seconds and have it flow. If it doesn't flow, don't stay on it. You're just going to melt the copper. And guys, I'm sure you've done that before. You're going to melt the copper, but the worst thing you're going to do if it doesn't melt the copper is you're going to get that tube so hot that solder is going to flow way down and plug up one of the lines where it's inserted. Inside the joint, you're going to plug the end of that tube that's inside the joint up. Because the solder doesn't stay on the joint. It starts to flow down to where it's hot everywhere where it's hot. So the major thing is just be honest about it and help the customer out. We can do a lot of business together. I get a lot of requests all the time about a service company in their area, and I want to be able to refer them to you. And you can make some, it's a free referral. I'm not going to charge you for the referral, okay? Like Home Advisor and everything else, $25, $35. Yeah, I'm not going to charge you for it. And the listing, I have 2 directory listings that I have, 2 different websites for directory listings that the customer can go on and find somebody in their area. And it's pretty sparse right now. I've had it up for a few years, and I've been trying to get service companies to go on there and put a free listing on it, okay? And all it's going to do is get you free business. It's just like putting it into Yahoo or anywhere else. It's just another listing area. And I have customers coming to me buying parts all the time. You're definitely going to get some business, okay? So would behoove you to work with me so that you can get more business. I know everybody's always wanting more business. So the other thing that I'd like for you to do, if you're having a difficult time getting SubZero parts, is get them from me. I can get you everything you need. And usually, if I don't have it in stock here with me, then it's 1 to 2 days in to me, and then priority mail out to you 2 to 3 days, and you've got it in your hands. There's not weeks or anything else unless it's gaskets. Or if something else runs out of stock at SubZero, there might be a delay, okay? And with COVID right now, there's a few other things occasionally that will go out of stock, but the biggest problem is door gaskets, okay? They still don't, the majority of them, they don't have in stock. They're working on manufacturing them now. They're ramping it up, she said, and they're going to start getting them out in large numbers. I got orders back to May. It's just ridiculous. Never seen anything like this in 40 years. So it's free business for you. Just work with the customer and stop with the attitude, if you do that, about, I can't warranty the parts. I can't do the job for you. Yes, you can. I will warranty the parts, okay? And you just don't worry about that. And I provide quality parts, and I mean, they're not aftermarket. The compressors, I've got technicians on occasion that say, oh, that's not the right compressor. Okay, let me explain how this works. I don't buy the compressors from SubZero. I'm not going to pay everybody knows that they charge retail now. You can't buy wholesale from them. I'm not buying $400 compressor and raising the price on you. I'm not going to do that. I go directly to the manufacturer of the compressor that supplies it to SubZero and puts it in a SubZero box with SubZero's part number on it. It's a different part number than the factory part number. Okay? So when you get this box, it's from the factory, Embraco maybe. Okay? And it's got Embraco's part number on it. It's the proper compressor. Okay? So if you don't know how it works, SubZero doesn't make any parts at all. They don't make parts. Okay? They get all their parts from vendors that make them. And in the case of compressors, it's from the compressor manufacturers. Compressor manufacturer will put the compressor in a SubZero box so that it looks like it's SubZero and give them a different part number. They're not going to put their part number on it. Okay, that's just the way it works for all parts, for everything. Lawnmowers, everything. Okay, the person that sells the lawnmower, they don't make the parts. Okay, SubZero makes the refrigerator, but they don't make the parts. Okay, so get that figured out, because there's no reason for you and I to argue about whether that's the correct part. It is. I sell thousands and thousands of parts constantly, and I don't have any issues of callbacks or anything else. I don't have bad parts. I've never had a compressor that was bad. I have leaks occasionally because technicians are using the wrong torch. They go back and fix the joint that they didn't get soldered properly, and wow, the leak's gone. But they were blaming the evaporator. The evaporator has a leak in it. It's brand new. I need another evaporator. They get all mad and everything, and I'm like, look, go back to your joints. I triple test the evaporators, the ones that I manufacture, and I manufacture about 15 different ones of them for the SubZero models. They're triple tested. They're vacuum and pressure tested for 48 hours each test. Okay? There's no leaks when they leave here. None. 0 leaks. And they're set on for 48 hours to make sure that there's no pressure difference, there's no vacuum difference, that they're not leaking. So they are not only higher quality evaporator than SubZero makes to resist corrosion. They don't have different clad metals in them like SubZero's been doing over the years. They are the exact refrigeration aluminum that's supposed to be used for refrigeration. That's why they're much higher quality. They'll last longer, but they're also triple tested. Because I don't want anything going out there. I'm a tech myself for 40 years. I don't want to get a part, especially an evaporator, It's got a leak in it right from the start. Are you kidding? All that work, and then you got to get another one, and the customer's livid. Okay, so I ensure that that's not going to be the case when it gets into your hands, and that's why I triple test them. So the other problem I'll just mention right now is that when you use an oxyacetylene and you're heating up the inlet on the evaporator, it's a copper inlet. The evaporator is aluminum. All evaporators, properly made evaporators, are aluminum, so they won't corrode. You can't make them out of copper. Copper will corrode in a wet environment. It's extremely corrosive. You'd have holes in it in a year if it was made out of copper. But there's copper inlets so that you can solder the heat exchanger into the copper inlets that go into the evaporator. And the joints with the copper inlets that solder and weld into the aluminum itself is a factory weld. Okay? It's 20,000 psi plus. But if you're using an oxyacetylene and you get that copper inlet tube too hot, guess what's going to happen? You're going to melt the aluminum weld. And then you're going to say it's leaking at the aluminum. I can't fix it. You need to give me another one. I didn't overheat it. You did. Okay? You can't overheat that inlet tube. And that's what you're doing with 3,000 degree oxyacetylene torch. You can't do that. I've never melted one because I always use acetylene. Okay? And flux. And if you have fluxless solder or solder that has flux in it, still use flux. Okay? Don't cut corners. You have to use flux, and it's just ridiculous to buy solder with flux in it. It's more expensive. Just buy the regular silver solder and use flux, the white paste. Okay? And if you have difficulties with brazing, and you're honest about it, and you're just like, man, every time I do one, I can't get it to flow, contact me. And I will tell you what you're doing wrong. In fact, I can tell you right now one of the things that you're doing wrong. One of the things that you see on YouTube videos, and this is unfortunate that people are learning just from YouTube videos, from guys that maybe don't even have experience, like I do. I've been a trainer for over 30 years. One of the things that they show on these videos is using a wire brush to clean your copper tubes. Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's the wire brush. Look at the gaps. If you're rubbing the tube, look how you're missing parts of the tube with this wire brush. You're going to end up with spots on the tube where you're going to solder that still is not clean. You need to use emery cloth, fine grit emery cloth, and you turn it on here. But the most important, you can do it back here, but you're not going to solder and flow solder back here. Think about where the solder is going to flow. It's right on the end where the tubes go in. So you're going to take it and clean the end of it and go across the end of it with the emery cloth. This is the surface on the very end that's going to solder to the other tube. And I bet a lot of guys aren't doing that. Okay? So you get this nice and clean around the outside, but you're not soldering there. You're heating it up there, and you shouldn't heat it up too far back either. You have to heat it up right on the shoulder here. And keep it up here. And up on the other tube on the shoulder. So you kind of go back and forth. And then when it starts to flow, you keep touching the solder, and it starts to flow. It'll flow all the way around. If there's flux all the way around, it'll flow around. Take the heat off. And you got a clean, nice, clean, soft joint. It's not globbed up, nothing, because it's really clean and it has flux on it. But if you're not cleaning that end, that's right there is one of the reasons why you have a tough time getting the solder to flow. Okay, think about it. That's where the solder flows. So doing it back here is not doing it any good. Makes it nice and clean back here, but that's not where the solder is. Okay, so I bring that up because a lot of guys do that, and I watch them, and I say, just go ahead and do what you usually do, and I'm like, okay, we got to stop, because I don't want to sit here and see you frustrated and overheat the tube because you didn't get the tube clean. It's shiny. Yeah, but the end of it, look at the end of it. It's all black down here, right where the solder is going to flow and where it's going to seal. You got to go across the end with the emery cloth, okay, and get that nice and shiny, and the other tube as well, and then put them together. So enough of that. Basically, what I want to do is get techs to start sourcing me for SubZero parts. I've been selling them for almost 10 years, and I want to get you some more business. This is what I've been trying to push for a while. These new restoration kits, there's no reason to tell a customer that it's not worth fixing. These older units are worth fixing. They don't want to spend $10,000 to $18,000 for a new one, and they don't need to. They can spend $1,500 to $2,000 and restore the whole refrigeration system, sealed system, compressor, evaporator, heat exchanger, and dryer. The condenser doesn't need to replace. It's steel. It doesn't get holes in it. Okay, so if you're thinking about replacing that, you don't need to. It's not going to get plugged up. You can blow it out. It's 1/4-inch tubing. Okay, so compressor, evaporator, heat exchanger, and dryer are the restoration kit. As I showed you at the beginning of the video, I have a website dedicated just to that, but it's also on the refrigerator part replacements.com website. And it's refrigerator part replacements.com. Okay, and then the restoreyoursubzero.com with all the restoration kits. If they're not on there, contact me. I'll put one together for your unit. Okay, refrigerator or freezer, doesn't matter. I just want to work more with you, get you more business, have the customer taken care of much more easily, more quickly, and so they're not calling up authorized SubZero and they're just saying buy a new one. And I hope the independents will stop doing that as well. These older units, if there's a compressor that's not available anymore, let me know. Don't tell the customer it's not available. Okay? The reason it's not available is because SubZero doesn't want to supply that compressor anymore. But guess what? Embraco or some other maker makes that compressor that they always supplied that SubZero is calling no longer available. But the compressor manufacturer still makes it. So I'll source that and I will have it available for you. Okay? If there's a part that's not available, contact me. There's always a replacement. Always. Okay? Almost always. And in some cases, there's a Viking and KitchenAid condenser that plugs up. For some reason they plug up. I don't know why. But they're no longer available. And it's in the built-in units. It's the same evaporator or condenser. And I actually am manufacturing those now. And they're selling because they have to buy a whole new $8,000 plus unit. Because the condenser is not available. So I'm actually manufacturing them now and selling them worldwide so that it can still be serviced. So if something's not available, let me know, okay? I'm here to solve the problems. Just a short bit about me. I've been through a lot here health-wise the last 3 years. 3 years ago, I couldn't hardly walk, and his toes were turning black is because I had no blood in both of my legs. My arteries were plugged up. So I had to have surgery to get put 2 new arteries in and get blood back in my legs. And then I just had a heart attack in June, just a few months ago, in heart surgery. So it looks like my time for service might be over with. Kind of sad because I love being out there and taking care of the customer. But I've worked with guys, older guys that died in the customer's house, heart attack and that kind of stuff. So I just don't want to go there. I still want to work with the customer and you guys to make things easier and stay focused on it and engaged. And extend my life as well. So we all know how stressful it is doing service. They always want you there yesterday, and you rush between calls. Then you have problems, and that's the other thing is service problems and repair problems. Contact me. I just helped a guy last night on Zoom that was just fed up. He was going to just trash the unit, and when he wrote what was wrong with it, and somebody else worked on it, and they couldn't fix it. We identified. I knew what it was before I even talked to him, just from his description, and we resolved the issue. And there's been like 3 years of people working on this unit and couldn't fix it. Okay, I don't know everything, but I'm extremely good with sealed systems and all repairs on the appliances and refrigeration. And in my mind, there's no way that you can't fix it. There's always a way to fix it. It's identifying the problem, as you all know. That is the issue. You just don't know what's going on. You don't know. Well, there's an easy way to find that out, and I'll share those with you so that you can pinpoint where the problem is. And it's so simple that you would think of it yourself, but you don't. I've been there. Okay? So that's another thing that I want to do is try to help you get through those problematic calls where you've been out there several times and you don't know what's wrong. And the customer's livid, and we'll get it resolved. That's a guarantee, okay? That's a guarantee for me. There's not a system or an appliance that's ever beat me. And it's not bragging. It's just that I'm thorough and I'm systematic, and step by step I go back to the basics. Okay, I walk away from it, I go back to the basics, and I step through it. And there's some testing and stuff that you need to do that we don't normally do. And those things I'll share with you that get you to the problem and then getting it resolved. Okay, so I don't want to make this too long, but I'm hoping that I can get some more interaction with the independent service companies doing the purchasing from me for all those SubZero parts, even if it's not all of them, the refrigeration parts. Because they're not going to be $400 for the compressor, but SubZero charges, you're not going to pay that, because I source right from the factory, okay? And they need to be exact, BTUs and all that, so it's kind of risky going online trying to figure out what is a cheaper compressor and it might work with your. Don't do that. I have everything sourced right from the factory, so it's a lot simpler. It takes 2 seconds for me to tell you which one it is, and get it, and get the customer. You can always get the customer. These restoration kits are about $600 to $800, and that's all the parts. Okay, so you charge them $800 for installation, $1,500 for the repair. Their whole system is back brand new, and they're gonna get another 20 years out of it. And you got some other parts, thermostat and that kind of stuff that probably needs to be changed at the same time, and you can bring that up to them. It doesn't force the issue, but if they want to wait till it fails, that's fine. But if they want to restore the whole unit, put a thermostat in it too, because 20 years plus on a thermostat it's time to be replaced. Condenser fan motor, if it's never been replaced, it's definitely time to replace the condenser fan motor. It's up there running in a hot environment, and it dissipates the oil, the lubrication in the bearing, and finally it seizes up. But they are relivable. You can relive these SubZeros, and they will be so happy with you. They'll be telling everybody about you, because they don't need to buy a $10,000, $18,000 refrigerator. One of the things that I want to mention here before I'm done is I've got some videos on here on my channel as well that I'd like for you to kind of peek at all of them. Just by title, you can tell what it is. But this is a really critical one. There's been a misunderstanding for 30 years about converting from R12 to 134A. It's been a lie that's been pushed by SubZero and other manufacturers. It started out as a misunderstanding, and has been like in solid gold that this is true ever since. And it's not. There's no factual basis to it, and that is converting from R12 to 134A. That's what you do. It doesn't cause sludging. Okay, and everybody's been told that 3 generations now, been told that you can't do it. It's going to cause sludging. Okay, let me just really quickly. There's a couple videos on it. Convert from R12 to 134A. But let me just you know what? I'll have you watch those videos because it goes into detail why it doesn't cause sludging if you do it properly. Okay, and what I will say is that the car industry's been doing it. They didn't misunderstand. They've been doing it for 30 years. They've been retrofitting from R12 to 134A compressors and systems for 30 years since they banned R12. Not one issue. They don't talk about sludge, and the systems are the same. They're the same. It's the same. Okay. There's no difference, except they use an orifice and a screen, and we use a capillary for metering, okay? So I've done thousands of them since 1990s when the R12 was banned. Not one issue ever. And other guys like myself that didn't buy into it and didn't misunderstand. The misunderstanding was that you can't put R134A in when there's an R12 compressor. Well, of course you can't. And who would do that? But that was turned because of the oil. The oil is not compatible with 134A. In an R12 compressor, the oil is not compatible with 134A. Well, that turned into you can't convert them. Of course you can. The factory does it. They're making 134A refrigerators right now. The rest of the system is the same. But there's not an R12 with the incompatible oil in it. There's an R134A compressor in there that's compatible with the oil and R134A and the R134A Freon. Okay? Think about it. That's where the confusion got in. It wasn't that you couldn't convert it and put an R134A compressor in. That's what you have to do. But you got guys, I've talked to a couple, it's just amazing how uneducated and uninformed so many people are. There's a couple guys in Texas, and I won't say that the corporate service outlet that they work for, I won't say the name, but not only they releasing Freon in the house and opening a torch up, R12 Freon from an old R12 system, and then open it. That's phosgene gas. That's deadly gas. You get that bluish green flame, it's deadly gas, and it's going to scar your lungs. You can't do that. That's why you reclaim the Freon. But they were bragging about letting it out in the house and then lighting a torch. And I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. But aside from that, they're putting in, which is still available, and it's insane that they're still available, R12 compressors. Why would anybody put an R12 compressor in these days? You can't get R12 Freon. And it is not a proper repair to put a blended or a Freon, a replacement Freon in with an R12 compressor that it wasn't meant and designed to work with. That's not the repair. That compressor is archaic. It shouldn't be in that system. And you don't replace one with another R12. Today, you just don't do that. You convert it to 134A. It will not cause sludging. Okay? It will not. You're going to flush the system, and you're going to put a dryer on and put other components on if you put a whole restoration kit in, and recharge it with 134A, and it works just like it's just came off the factory floor. Okay? So I'm trying to dispel these lies and this misunderstanding of 30 years. And I still have guys, no, you can't do that. And yes, you can. It's the proper repair. You don't put an R12 compressor back in there and use the wrong Freon. That's just insane. You're not doing the customer, you're doing them a disservice by doing that. You're actually ripping them off because they're paying good money for a proper repair and you're not doing it properly. Okay? So if you have questions about it, email me from the description. You'll have my email in it down below. And I'll go through it with you, make more sense. But also, I've got 2 other videos on there about converting from R12 to R134A. One's the facts about it all, and the other one is how to actually do it. Watch it all the way through. And you will never have, and you'll be kicking yourself for believing this garbage that's been told wrong for 30 years. Just think about how many customers you told you couldn't fix it because it was R12. All you had to do is put an R134 compressor, convert it to R134A, and do it properly, and you would have had the repair. And they would have had like a new refrigerator updated to R134A. Okay? There's different charging procedure and all that kind of stuff. So that's in the video. Check that out. But I want to work with you guys to not only get things understood properly that were misunderstood 30 years ago, but there's a lot of tips and tricks, like never soldering a cap tube closed again. There's a trick I'll share with you when you get a hold of me of never soldering another cap tube closed. If you've ever done it, it's very frustrating. It's because you have too much heat on it, and it gets to the end of the cap when you have it inserted into the inlet of the evaporator, and it solders the end of the cap tube closed. So when you go to charge it, there's a total restriction. It's like, where's my restriction at? It's very likely right there. But there's a way of avoiding that and never, ever having that happen again. It's a little trick an older tech taught me about 35 years ago. And I've done it ever since, and I've never soldered a cap tube closed. So there's a lot of things that I can share with you. I'm going to wrap this up for now. I just would like to work with you. I'd like to supply you calls free of charge. No charge. Just get your listings on the listing. The two listing directories will be also down into the description area below the video here of the two directory websites. You go on there free, put your website, your contact information. That way, when I get a customer contacting me and saying, "Do you have a service company? I'm going to buy this restoration kit, and I need a service company to put it in because I can't do it." Then they don't have to try to search around for somebody and have them keep telling them, "Oh, we won't put your parts in." That you're on there. You've already proved that the fact that you're not going to let that be an issue. You're going to make the labor on it. You're going to do the job for them, get them back operational, and everything's good, both sides. I make my sale, you make your sale, and you get it free. No lead charge, nothing else. Okay, so look forward to and take a peek at my other videos as well in my channel. There's a lot of good information in there from 40 years of experience. So I look forward to working with you guys. You might even get my contact, my phone call, because I'm going to start calling around to service companies around the United States and letting them know about my directory and that I can supply the parts and get you free service calls. No charge for service calls and referrals from my customers to you to do the installations and make good money on them. Okay, just don't rip them off. If I get wind of that, then I'm just going to take you off the directories and ban you. We want to take care of the customer properly. $800 for the whole restoration kit is adequate. If you start charging them $2,500 or something labor, then I'm not going to work with you because that's highway robbery, and you're not doing the customer good. You're actually ripping them off. They're going to advertise for you free and tell their friends. You're going to get more jobs. So don't do that. And I won't work with anybody that does that. Okay? Let's treat the customer right. They've been done wrong by SubZero. And so have all of us. Okay? So let's just make things right. All right. I'm not going to control what you charge them. But if I get customer calling back, well, that was terrible. They wanted $3,000 to install the parts. Then I'm not even going to say anything to you. I'm just going to take you off the directory listing. Because you can do your business any way you want, but if you're ripping them off, and that's totally ripping off, and you know it, then I just take you off there. I'm not going to confront you. We don't need that. Nobody needs it. Customer doesn't need it. I don't need it. And you won't stay in business long doing that either. So I appreciate you watching. I do hope that you'll subscribe to my channel so you can watch the upcoming videos that I'll be posting, and all the videos in it. They're all going to have good content, informative content, not only for the technicians and service companies, but also for the customers. I want them to be aware of as well. If somebody comes into their home and says, I can't convert to R12 to 134A, that they say, well, maybe you should go on the YouTube channel. And he tells you exactly that actually you can. It's been a misunderstanding for 30 years. You know, I want them to be informed. So when they're told wrong information, that they actually have a resource to be able to find that out. And that's the other purpose of educating, is not just for the techs, but for the customers. So we all are on the same page. Okay. So once again, my name's Michael Riley, and my service company out here in San Diego is ABA Appliance. Refrigerator Part Replacements.com is the parts website for all SubZero parts. They're all operational on the website. So if you have something else, shelves or whatever, just contact me. I'll look them up. But I don't put them on the website. These are operational parts. But I can get them for you, whatever else, as long as they're still available. Those kind of parts, shelves and that, I can't, you can't get that. If it's not available with SubZero, it's not going to be available. Okay. But I'll check it out for you, and if I can get it for you, I'll get it for you. Okay. So RestoreYourSubZero.com is the other website. And then I have the Zoom where I do technical assistance with technicians. I'll do Zoom with you as well. If you have a problematic call, we'll do it on Zoom. There's a small charge, and I'll walk you through, and we'll solve the problem that you have. That's a guarantee. Okay. Nothing gets me because I've been through it all. And I've been training for a long time. I have an appliance repair tech school. It's appliancerepairtechschool.com. I train technicians who come in from all over the world on the proper procedures of all repairs of all appliances, but especially getting the sealed system repairs understood, and not letting them baffle you, and solving them easily. Okay. So I have a lot of resources. I want to work with you, and so I look forward to you contacting me, getting on the directories, and working with me to get these customers taken care of that do order parts and need somebody to install them for them. Okay, and they do it because they don't want to overpay for the price of the parts. Work with them. That's fair. You do the same thing. Okay, that's why Amazon and eBay are out there now, so people can get their own stuff. So install them for them. Just make the labor on it. You're going to make good labor. Okay, they're free calls. Okay, all right. Take care. Subscribe, please, and like the video if you like it. And we'll see you soon. All right. Take care. Thank you.